7 o'clock.
Try 27.
Huh?
Today's the 27th.
Yes, okay. I just did the month and the year. But that's fine. Can I have roll call, please?
Maurice LaRosa.
Here.
Andrew Obanowitz. Mary Ann Turner, here. Charlie Masterbirdy. Kelly Davis.
Here.
Rob Kwasnicki. Kathleen Plopper.
Catherine, and I'm here.
Sorry, I know that. Catherine Plopper. Rich Stroney.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, Andrew, Charlie, and Masterbirdy are missing. So you replaced Andrew. Right now, you need to replace Charlie. I know he's supposed to be coming, but you need to set an alternate. Rich.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Rich is an alternate. Okay.
I am.
You're sitting tonight.
All right.
I was looking at my list here and it didn't say. All right. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? We don't have a flag tonight, do we? We'll pretend there's a flag. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
To
to
the
the
flag
flag
of the United
of the
States
United States of
America,
America,
and to
and
the republic
which
stands
stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible.
indivisible, with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
I have a flag at my house, but I'd have to turn the computer around and go in the other room.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to push old business to after item 7.
Old business and legal notice. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, no, old business altogether. Just old business, number 4.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Bo LaRosa,
Yes.
Mary Ann Turner, yes. Kelly Davis,
Yes.
Catherine Plopper,
Yes.
and Rich Stroney.
Yes.
Good. Do we have any legal notices?
I got this one. How did you, I don't have the legal notice thing here. Do you want me to just read it as new business, Jen?
Yeah, what's on the agenda?
ZBA 2020-0629 4 Hollywood Drive, variance applicant to allow a reduction in side yard setbacks to 4.5 feet. On the east side of the property, Michael Hahn, owner applicant, map 73, lot 37, R33 zone.
Good. Mr. Hahn, the floor is yours. Explain give us your name and address for the record, and then let us know what your project is about.
Michael Hahn, 4 Hollywood Drive, Enfield, Connecticut.
Hey, you gotta keep talking.
Yeah, you want to explain your application?
Yes. The red area, the red shaded area is where we would like to move the back of the garage / breezeway back to meet the back of the house, which would obviously push further into our side yard setback because of the property line being on an angle, which is already non-conforming.
Right. So
I guess we're looking for a variance to proceed with that.
Okay. Any questions of the board?
Can you explain the second story? I didn't get that.
Oh, we'd like to add a second story.
But does your house already have a second story?
Does not.
So are you telling me that you want to bring this up to the above the roof line of the existing house?
Yes.
I'm just looking for the picture. Bear with me.
Okay, I appreciate you doing it.
There you go. I know it's sideways. I cannot rotate it.
Jen, is there any issue with that?
The height, as long as it's not taller than 35 feet or 2.5 stories, should be fine.
Has planning and zoning reviewed that to make sure it's neither of those?
Yes, it would.
Yes, I believe he worked with Rick on that. It wouldn't go to the commission.
I want to, first off, I want to thank you for marking out your property and leaving your gate open so I could get behind your house today to look and see. So thank you for doing your job properly. It makes my job easier.
You're welcome.
I also noticed I went out to the property today and I can see all you're really doing is squaring off your existing house.
Yes, that's correct.
And because your house is, you can't really see it when you look at your house. It looks straight and stuff. You can't really see it until you get into the backyard and you see where you put the pins.
Right, correct.
So, I also went and did some checking on houses around the neighborhood, 2 of them specifically, and both of them, one is about 4 feet from the property line and another one's at 8 feet. I did not do the whole neighborhood, just the ones that were obvious to me.
Okay.
And so to the commissioners, what I was not able to find from those other previous homes was any variances. And that was from the office.
They didn't request it.
Correct. I did not.
All right, any other questions?
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Or wait, you need to ask if there's anybody in the audience.
Right. I've got a question for you, though. Have you thought about not necessarily squaring that corner?
Yes, I have. I did think about going on an angle. I just, or cutting in, I guess, from that corner a little bit. And I was like, well, I guess I could, I just didn't really.
Did you go out and look at this place?
Yes.
That makes absolutely no sense. All he's doing is squaring off the back of his building to the side of his building. He's just squaring it off.
I understand that. But what I'm looking at, and we can get more into it in the discussion part of it, is what is the property causing a problem with?
The property has caused this problem because it's non-conforming. He can't move his house. It was there, it was put there in 1952.
Correct.
Right.
But that's not the property. You know,
We can have this discussion in our part.
okay. All right. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to speak in favor or against the project? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor or against? Last time, anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor or against? Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ola Rosa,
Yes?
Mary Ann Turner. Yes. Kelly Davis,
Yes.
Kathleen Plopper,
Yes.
and Richard Stroney.
Yes.
I didn't quite get who seconded that. Was that who seconded that motion?
I did. Catherine.
Was that I was okay.
Okay, Mo, get going.
Okay. So our job is to look at the property and make it less non-conforming. We're dealing with a non-conforming property already. I'm looking for a hardship of what the property is causing to make it more non-conforming than it already is. And I don't see it.
Well, I disagree with you. The property is causing its nonconformity because it was put there in 1952, and because of lack of zoning rules, did not put the house squarely on the property, which they might have, could have. But if you go out to the neighborhood, every single one of these houses is exactly the same.
Right. So what is more unique on this property than the others?
Absolutely has nothing to do with the other properties. We never take them into consideration.
We always look at what is unique to this property.
And his property is caused because the house was placed on that site in that cockeyed motion and relationship, and he can't fix it.
Yeah, it's parallel to the front, but they've cut the properties at an angle. I don't see how it could work. Even if they squared it up with the top edge, the side edge by the garage, then it would probably be non-conforming on the other end.
But his garage and his house is already stuck together. All he's trying to do is fill in this dead spot.
Right. Which he could do without encroaching further on the property line.
I don't know where you'd put that cut, Mo. You'd end up having this little disjointed piece off the back of his house. Oh, we can't ask him.
Well, I did ask him if he had thought about cutting that corner off to make it so it didn't encroach. And he said, yes, I've thought about that.
Right. We did not go into further discussion about the addition, and we can't ask him.
Right.
Jennifer, can you give some insight about that extra, let's call it 4 feet of that red part to 20 feet long? If he doesn't do that at all, and he just fills in the part where the open sidewalk is, I don't know what it's called. If he doesn't add the addition of the red part and he just does the L foot rather than the long part, what did he tell you?
Really just that we just had a discussion about the hardship, and the hardship really is the angle of the property cut line. And just because there's like the other properties on either side have the same problem doesn't mean that a hardship doesn't exist. If these properties had cliffs as backyards that caused them to have to put an accessory building right up next to their house, they would all still have a hardship. So
No, I understand that.
Yep. No matter what he does, any improvement to the property would need on that side, and probably on the other side of the side for both side yards, he would need a variance either way. It's just how the subdivision was cut, how these lots were cut.
Mr. Chairman, are you saying to kind of go straight this way?
That's what I was saying.
It's not going to give him 10 feet.
It's not. He doesn't need 10 feet.
What you're saying is
Yes.
he's got to maintain the
He
5.2.
has to maintain the 5.2. That's where he's at, and that's where we have to start from.
No. If you were going to follow the rules, he's going to have to go to 10 feet.
No. The house has been there for more than 3 years.
That's
We can't
right.
go back and say, we can't go back to him and say, no, you need 10 feet, cut that out. We're starting at, he's 5.2 away.
And
that's
he's already, go ahead.
That's the starting point, Marianne. So I'm trying to keep him within that 5.2. And he can do that.
It makes no logical sense. It may be doable, Mo, but it makes no logical sense. All you're basically telling me is for him not to square off his property, his house, just to give you that half a foot. Is that what you're telling me? can you use your fancy pencil-y thing? And, and show me, like, if you, because we're talking 5.2 and he said 4.5, we're talking about a smidge.
7 inches. That's a shoe size, Mo, of a small person. Commissioner.
Good. Rich, take that marker, that same marker you had, and now go from the corner where the 5.4 is, and draw a straight line and square it off with the front of the garage.
This one here?
No, go the other way to the front of the garage. Go straight though. Don't follow the garage. Go in a straight.
Oh, I see.
No, I want it from the 4.5. That's what you're giving him. You're giving him it's not 7 inches in that one spot. You're now giving him 4.5 feet on the entire property line.
Yeah. And I looked at his plans and he has no intention.
It doesn't, right. It doesn't matter what his intentions are once they have it.
Mr. Commissioner, I'm not interrupting you.
Go ahead.
His plans that he has before the, in front of us does not show that he is bringing that garage over by that extra 4 feet. He is staying straight to the property and he's only adding what's on the back.
Correct.
Okay, so I hear you, but that's not his intention. And if you think that in 300 years, when God makes no more land, the new guy or gal shows up and is going to take that 4 feet and do what with?
Anybody have anything else?
Question for Jennifer. For the chairman's point, it is at 5.2, 5 feet 2 inches right now, or 5.2.
Yep.
And is so hypothetically, if they wanted to square off the building and stay 5.2 feet from that property line, they can do that without a variance?
They would have to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission with a special permit application and have a public hearing to do that.
Okay.
It's under the expansion of non-conforming structures regulations.
Okay. And the setback's supposed to be 10 feet?
Correct.
So is there a regulation in zoning that says whatever the non-conforming property is the new zoning rule for that piece of property?
It's a state statute where if a structure has been there for 3 years or more, it's, for lack of a better term, grandfathered. We can't require any enforcement or variances or anything of that nature, despite it not meeting the regulations.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Jennifer,
Yep.
are you saying that if we give them the variance, they don't have to go in front of PZC, or they will still?
No, with the variance, they will not have to.
But if they were to take that and make a massive structural change and level it all off, they would have to go in front of Planning and Zoning Commission, right? And get a building permit and all that kind of stuff?
They still,
Yeah, no matter what, they will need a building permit. It's if they're expanding a non-conforming or a non-conformity of the structure without further encroaching and making a worse non-conformity, if you will, they'll be then they could go for a special permit. But if they're not, if all they need is if this commission grants a variance, then they won't need to go for that expansion of the non-conforming structure. They could just go to a building permit.
Gotcha. Rich, whoever's controlling the shared screen.
Yep.
Can you zoom out and show like just the neighborhood and how those parcels are lined out? Please, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So okay. So to me, they're cut at a. So the houses are parallel to the street. They're not parallel to the property line.
Correct.
Yeah. So, to me, it's a hard. The property's causing a hardship. It shouldn't have been divided up like that.
So, Jen, again.
Yeah.
So going by Commissioner LaRosa's comment that we're now drawing this 4.5 feet from the backyard corner that Rich just drew down to the front of the street, right?
Yeah.
If they came back in for wanting to, never asked this question, are they taking down the existing building to build a new structure?
I am not 100% sure about that. Under this application, we were really just looking at the variance aspect of it, not the construction of it just yet. But to that end, Marianne, if that 4.5 feet, that would be the new side yard setback on that side for that property.
Right, it would be from exactly where Rich just drew that intersection with Blues and drew it all the way down to the end of the street, which is what Commissioner LaRosa is talking about. That we have now changed the side yard to 4.5 feet all the way down to the street. I'm not speaking for you, am I?
No, and all the way to the backyard. That whole side now becomes 4.5.
But it would only be 4.5 for the attached, whatever's attached to the house. And you also have to take into account coverage, which is only, I believe, 20% in residential neighborhoods. So that property is already small. It would be limited anyway, how much they could in the future build on that side anyway.
But we're under the impression from his diagrams that he is only filling in the hole, going about on the back side. So the impression, and it's my fault, I didn't think of it during public participation, is that building coming down and being rebuilt, or is it being modified? If the building's coming down, Commissioner LaRosa's got a very good point. If the building's being modified, then I could sit with just the upgrade. Is there any way for us to ask that question?
The public hearing is closed. I know it's not recommended to reopen public hearings for this type of thing. I mean, what's represented in their application appears to be just that addition of the L-shaped that fill in, and I know there's a second story going on there. Nothing was represented to say that the entire thing would be taken down.
As addition to the existing garage, so they're not taking down the garage.
It would be unfeasible to tear down, cost prohibitive to tear it down and rebuild it. I think it's a fair assumption, and with the evidence that they're just adding on, it's not unheard of.
Commissioners, we need to go into recess for a couple minutes. Catherine Plopper has been kicked off the site. She's trying to get back in. So I asked for a recess for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
We need a
Second.
Second.
We need to vote.
Roll call. Hard to vote with Kathleen. Yes.
Mary Ann Turner, yes. Kathy, Kelly Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Richard Stroney.
Yes.
We're in recess. Mola Rosa,
Yes.
Marianne Turner, yes. Kelly Davis,
Yes.
Catherine Plopper,
Yes.
Richard Stroni.
Yes.
Okay, we're back.
All right. So does anybody have anything else they want to ask, talk about?
I guess the question is, can we go back into public hearing? And I got the impression and the recommendation from our liaison is no.
Correct.
So then I guess we got to go by what we know.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Hold on a second.
Motion.
I got to find the right motion. Hold on a second. I make a motion to approve ZBA, sorry, Kelly. I make a motion to approve ZBA 2020-06-29 4 Hollywood Drive to allow a reduction in side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 4.5 feet in order to allow building addition and second story to existing home. Mike Hahn, owner, applicant, map 73, lot 37, R33 zone, according to materials submitted under ZBA 2020-06-29.
Second.
Seconded by, was that Kathleen?
Kelly.
Oh, Kelly, okay. All right, all those in favor?
Do we have to do a roll call?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not used to doing it this way yet. All right, roll call.
Mola Rosa,
No.
Marianne Turner, yes. Kelly Davis,
Yes.
Catherine Plopper,
Yes.
Rich Stroni.
No.
It does not pass. 3 yeses, 2 nos.
All right, sir, you can, your application didn't pass. You can get in touch with the planning department in the next few days and find out where you go from there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we have approval of the minutes for June 22nd.
I move that we approve the minutes from June 22nd.
Made by Rich. Do I have a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mary Ann. Any discussion?
page 4. There seems to be a whole discussion missing when Mr. Daigle talked about the dimensions of his garage, when I asked him about it. And I would like to table these minutes until the secretary has a chance to go in and find that dialogue, because this is when he discusses that he is not building the garage to 24 feet, which would hold his truck. He's only building it to 22 feet with the intention of not parking his truck in the building, and I'd like that in the minutes.
Okay. Are you making a motion to table it?
I'm making a motion to table it.
I have a motion to table the minutes by Mary Ann. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mola Rosa,
Yes.
Marianne Turner, yes. Kelly Davis,
Yes.
Catherine Plopper,
Yes.
Rich Stroni.
Yes.
All right, correspondent staff reports.
I got nothing for zoning board of appeals. We will be moving forward with plan of conservation development and zoning regulation updates, but we haven't really started on it yet. We do have the consultant that we want to go with. Other than that, we don't have any pending applications for zoning board of appeals, but we will keep you posted if we do within the month of August, since this board does not meet regularly, at least.
Okay. GEO appeals fees, still waiting on legal opinion.
I
Correct?
believe we did get that legal opinion. I believe I sent it to you back in probably February or March now. But that said, we haven't really done anything with moving appeals fees forward with the town attorney just yet.
Right. I
So,
believe the legal opinion was that it was up to the town council. I don't know what that was all
it's just feedback.
about. Okay. Old business, review of the bylaws. Are we keeping that tabled?
Yep, that I will hopefully, we've been extremely busy in our office recently, so hopefully I can get to that in our off month in August.
Okay. And instructional guide and application forms.
Same thing.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything else?
Can you wait until I finish trying to write something about our denial?
Yep.
So I wrote, the 4.5 foot request was denied due to variance would go whole length of east side of yard. There was an option to bring the new addition into compliance. Is that
Yep.
reasonable?
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right. If nobody has anything else, I have one thing, Jen.
Mhm.
If we could get a little more notice on the next month that we have a meeting, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
Is there a reason why we're not getting our 15 days? I mean, we know this, they're on our agenda, so why can't we get the stuff?
We've been making sure it all goes up on the website within the 10 to 15 days. We're just running really extremely busy, and we started out with 6 people in the office, and it's slowly over the years gotten down to 3 now. And one of those 3 is a new trainee. So we're working as fast as we can to get all these commissions, keep
Can I
them all
make a-
going. And
Can I make a suggestion to all the commissioners? I signed up on our town website to get alerts on agenda items when they're posted up on the website. That might work. You get a notice in your email that they're up there and you can easily access it. That would work.
Well, it doesn't work that way for us quite as good as you think, Rob. We need the packets and stuff, so we have the information so we can go out and see the property.
Gotcha.
You know, it's not just as simple as saying, okay, this person's going in front of this board.
Gotcha.
You know, we actually need the property information. So,
Then all I can say is if you've made the effort to get it up on the website and all the junk is there, why is it any different than just sending out an email to the commission so we can go find it? Which I don't particularly like. It takes a little effort, but you know, we all learn by doing.
yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that, but you know that everything's up on the website. I guess I was just working on making sure that the report was up there for you as well. And
Can't understand you.
You're breaking up a little bit, Jennifer.
sorry about that. It's saying my internet is unstable, but that happens with this software. So
I have some friends like that.
I guess I was just working on making sure that all of the reports were up there and everything for you to look at. What we're having trouble with, I know with planning and zoning on is when things are added after the fact, we're sending them so much information that they don't really know what's new, what's old, and what to look at. So we're trying to sort of minimize that confusion as best we can while everything is sort of more geared towards online.
Mr. Chairman, one of the things I think when this is all over and we get back in the council chambers, my gut tells me that some of these new ways of doing things are not going to go away.
oh, I agree. You know, the packet that you send us out, I actually like that. I'm not opposed to doing that because I click a button, I open it up, it's all right there. I don't have to deal with paper. So I'm fine with that. I'm sure some of this stuff isn't gonna go away. But,
I can say what we have been doing for the other commissions is when they have large plan sets, the big engineering plans that are larger on the screen, kind of harder to read sometimes if you're looking at it on a screen. Commissioners have been coming to pick those larger plans up from town hall. So they have them. So that's always an option for you as well.
Well, are we gonna have anything next month, Commissioner LaRosa?
not as I'm aware of right now. I do have it's a complaint, I guess. We have been asking, and I don't know if we've asked you because you weren't our liaison. We've asked for quite some time for a running list of our decisions so that we could see what decision was made and what the follow-up was to that decision. And we've yet to get that. And that is such an important piece of information for us to have. And I'll explain to you why. I was on O'Hare Drive. Charlie and Marianne are probably the only two that are going to remember this. We heard a property, it had to have been 10 years ago by now, 8 years ago. And they were supposed to, the variance was denied, and they had a gazebo in the front of their house. They were supposed to get rid of the gazebo. And here we are 10 years later, it's still there. Now, you'd never drive down the road. It's a dead-end road. But I happened to be down there the other day, and I look over and I'm like, wait a minute, that gazebo should have been out of there 10 years ago. But because there's no follow-up, we have no clue what happens once the decision comes out of us as to whether or not there's follow-up or anything. And we've asked and asked. We used to get it, and then it stopped. And we've asked and asked for it again. We see nothing. But there's a prime example of why we should have that information. Because once a decision's made and somebody's supposed to do something, if we don't know if it's been done, if you guys have gone out and looked at it, here we have an accessory structure that was supposed to be removed 10 years ago that will have no teeth in the world trying to get it removed now.
Yeah, but that's not true, I would think, because they've already gotten the denial. So they need to go take that down. And he's not wrong, Jen. We were told, what was the other thing, Mo? Certificate of
Compliance.
Right. Even like, no matter, even the one we had last month or all those others, they should be filing a certificate of compliance that they've done it. And for some reason, we're not following up. And so if we deny somebody, you're asked the 5 commissioners to go around and check the work.
And like I said, Jen, it's not on you. We've been cycled through with liaisons, and it just keeps slipping through. And
Okay.
these are things that really need to be. It's in our regulations that they get a certificate of compliance. So there should not be anybody that gets a variance that does not come in and apply for a certificate of compliance. It's in the regulations.
Okay.
So
I
before they
can
put
look
a
into
CO
that.
on anything, they should have it.
Okay.
But that list of our decisions and the follow-up as to what came out of it, I'd like to start to see that.
Okay. I vaguely remember when I was attending zoning board of appeals meetings a few years ago that list was a thing. So I'll try to track it down and update it for you.
And I don't expect you to go back to 10 years ago. If we have to start fresh, we start fresh. But if we start fresh, I want to see it after a running log every month.
So what are we going to do about these people over on O'Hare? Did they ever get rid of their trailers that we told them to get rid of?
I didn't go in the backyard to find out.
And I asked through you to Jen, please send the zoning enforcement officer out. Find out. Do you remember the number? Because I don't.
I don't. You can't miss the house.
They have a,
There's a rundown gazebo in the front yard. They're running a business out of there, first of all, which they may or may not have a permit for. But they had 2 containers, shipping containers, in the backyard, and that's why they came to us for a variance.
right, and we said no, get rid of them. Along with the gazebo.
But I guess that was just something that's. I hope that's a one-off that slipped through the cracks. But yeah, I have to sit here and wonder how many other ones.
How about the one where they built the shed 2 stories high on the property line? I can't even remember what street that was at. Remember that one?
Yes. But again, we don't know if that ever got followed up on or.
Right, because you can't see it from the street. If I remember right. So. You got anything else, or I can ask for adjournment?
Nope, we can adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned.
And fun has been real.